One game at a time. That's coach speak for we should beat this next team, but if they pull an upset, I don't want to be caught looking ahead to next week. Well, we saw it happen to several teams over the weekend. Iowa Western, they didn't have the luxury of looking past their opponent. They get the preseason favorite to win the Jayhawk Conference on the road. Can the Reivers pass their last road test, or would it be back to the drawing board? We'll find out next on the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show, the Coach Stroh Show, only on CBTV 17. Some years you're the fly and some you're the windshield. This year the Reiver football team is taking out plenty of flies and bugs of all shapes and sizes on road trips. The 6th of the season, taking them to Hutchinson, Kansas, site of the NJCAA Division I men's basketball tournament and home to the preseason favorite in the Jayhawk Conference, the Blue Dragons of HCC. I'm Jake Ryan, joined as always by the head coach of the Iowa Western Reivers, head coach Scott Strohmeier. 4-4 Hutchinson. Didn't expect him to be there when you met them last year, obviously. It was a game of undefeateds. You guys come in with a couple of losses. They come in with 4 losses, but their losses to Dodge, to Butler, to Coffeyville, and then they get upended by Highland, who has been on fire as of late. They pulled an upset of their own over the weekend. So talk about the game plan going in against Hutch, and how do you keep the guys from maybe looking at the records and casting them off as, yeah, we should take care of these guys?
Well, I think we did talk about it. Like I said early on, it might have been the best 4-4 team in the country that I've, watching film, and knowing they're well coached. They had a couple bounces go. Their quarterback plays what really hurt them the last, in their losses. And the kids are smart enough to know they knew coming in what Hutch was last year, and the caliber players that they had. And so when they looked at it, I wouldn't say that they were worried or looking past them because they're 4-4, but I think there was a little bit more confidence.
Sure.
And you got to be able to get up on a team like that. And if you can and you give them life, then it's tough. But if you can put them away or get on them, I should say, and put them through some adverse situations, I think you can take care of them.
Well, you've got your own set of transfers. Hutch has transfers from Tennessee, Alabama, Minnesota. Let's take a look at the first half highlights and see what the Reivers and the Blue Dragons were all about on Saturday in Hutchinson. You see the Reivers in their white, blue, and white helmets, 5-0 coming in this suit of armor, by the way, if you want to know, Coach.
I like that.
Yeah. Tyron Jones, who wasn't sure if he was going to play or not. He was banged up with an injury, but he starts the game. Looked pretty good, and then they go to the little screen pass, and again, it's Jones. He was tough to bottle up initially.
Yeah, I mean, he's elusive, and we missed him a few times in this first drive, but for the most part, did a decent job.
Timothy Bonilla, their backup kicker, comes in and puts them on the board as he kicks it through the south end zone, 3-0 Hutch. And then the Reivers trying to get going. Outside to Tyus Mason, great block on the outside by Marshall Clark.
Yeah, I mean, it was a real nice. Marshall had a nice job on the perimeter, blocking for Tyus all day, really.
Martin again to the air, looking for Marshall down the field, and I'll tell you what, got a little bit ahead of the defensive backs, and if only he could have pulled ahead, it would have let you breathe a lot easier. You have to settle for a field goal attempt by Bobby Patterson. His first of the day. It's up, and it's good.
Yeah, good job. You come back and be able to answer, to get it 3-3 was big.
Quick outside passes. The Reivers take over again after forcing a Hutch punt. Tyus Mason slung out of bounds after a quick gainer.
Again, we had tried attacking them back there, and with the little pass to Tyus there, we did that throughout the day.
Have to punt it away again after stalling out on this drive. Not many Reiver fans on the sidelines there, but not many Hutch fans in the stands either.
I was surprised. I thought maybe there'd be a little bit bigger crowd, but I suppose when you're, if you're 4-4 and maybe out of the mix, that they don't have as much.
Game all tied at 3. Zach Martin going to work again, looking short into the hands of, unfortunately, a Hutch defensive back, and it's a good thing here that Marshall Clark and Zach Martin ran him out of bounds, because that could have easily been a pick six there.
Yeah, it just sailed on him. You're going with the wind, and sometimes, you feel that you just got to put a little touch on it. But, then they come and get points off of the turnover. I think that was a story of it, of points off turnovers in throughout this game.
Gary Cross gets the touchdown, but then a blocked extra point, and Stacey Keeley picking it up. Looked like he almost wanted to lateral it on that play, but it's 9-3, and then it's Hutch again back to the drawing board. They used a couple of quarterbacks. This is Dominic McKenzie, who was the QB in the first half that actually got some work done.
Yeah, now they're moving, they're driving. Nice. That's a fourth down completion there. Nice.
Yeah, what a catch by Gary Cross.
Yeah.
Over the head, and then it's first and goal. They run it. Second and goal. They decide they're going to pass, and then, well, here's that quarterback play you talked about. Stone Kane stepping up, falling down in the end zone. The INT saving what might have been a double-digit two-score lead for Hutch.
Oh, that was huge. They had a chance. All they got to do is, throw it out the back of the end zone. They should get points out of the deal.
Anthony Johnson, his only catch of the game right there for a first down to start this drive. Again, under 2 minutes to go in the half. And then another one. I'll tell you what, Malcolm Moore, yards after catch, yards after contact, the guy can get it done.
Yeah, he had a good year so far, but again, you're seeing some of that once he gets the ball in his hands.
And you see Taj there asking the official. Might have been some pass interference on that play. Taj looking, he's been working with Coach Williams' volleyball team apparently. Tips it up into his own hands, gets inside the 20, and tiptoes down the sideline. Reivers are set up pretty good yardage there as the half winds down. Here's the replay of that catch.
Yeah, we needed a big play like that, just something to go our direction right before the half, and what a change of events from the interception to getting it in right before the half.
Longest touchdown of the run right there. That's only a yard long. John Nazambo took forever, his offensive line giving him a boost. And finally, they signal the touchdown. You guys get the extra point. It's 10-9, and then, well, you'll run out the half with a tackle for loss. That's pretty much the way that the half went after the initial quick few runs by Tyron Jones. He just couldn't get anything going out of the backfield.
No, and credit to our defense. They did a good job. They got their points besides the opening one off of turnover, and then they got a turnover and we drove down and ended up scoring on that too. But pretty good defensive play on our end of holding that offense to just 3.
A late Iowa Western drive puts them up at the half. Could the Reivers take the second half as well? A look at the highlights when we come back. More Stroh Show right after this on CBTV 17.
Okay, it's decision time. I want flexibility, more doing, hands-on experience, and working sooner. I gotta make a choice. I want to get started now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
From the studios of CBTV 17 in Council Bluffs, Jake Ryan along with Iowa Western head football coach Scott Strohmeier. Late interception spurs the drive in the half, and you go up 10-9 instead of being down possibly 17-3. I mean, what kind of mindset does that give you going into the half? You obviously take the lead. You got to be breathing a little bit easier, especially on the road in the Kansas League.
Well, for sure, and with the wind, when you're 2 scores and 2 possessions, obviously gets a little bit more challenging. But that one was huge. Not only a confidence boost for us, but I think depleting for them going into the half. With the struggles that they've had this season, and to go down to where they probably felt they had control of the first half, and then for us to be able to go ahead.
Coming into the game, they were ranked 8th in the NJCAA in rushing yards per game. for whatever reason, they decide on 1st and goal from the 4, they'll rush it, then it's 2nd and goal from the 2. Well, let's go to pass it. We saw it in the Super Bowl last year. Sometimes you go away from the strength just because you're trying to outsmart the opponent, and it played into your hands, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're kind of struggling with the play there. They've made bad decisions throughout the previous games that we've seen, and there's a few more in this game that they make that you don't want them to make, especially when you're in the red zone.
Well, let's take a look at those second half highlights. Iowa Western with the slimmest of leads, 10-9. Reivers out of the locker room, and will kick the ball away to Hutch. So Hutch does have a chance to get on the board early. They will go to the air on the first play, down the sideline, and guess what? Center field being played today by Ben Garlock. He Garlocked it down there. Another interception for number 36, and the Reivers take over.
I'll tell you what a way to start the second half, and here we come to a quick pass game again, a nice block, and get a big play here by Tyus.
Yeah, Tyus down the sideline, gets bumped a little bit here and just loses his balance, falls down. Great tackle, saved a touchdown there as Tyus was heading for the end zone. You end up having to settle for a field goal attempt. Bobby Patterson from short range. So now 13-9, you're up 4. Obviously felt that you missed an opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean you have to get touchdowns on those.
I tell you what, right there, Derez Diggs made a nice play. Didn't realize that the pass was backwards. Could have had himself a fumble recovery. Guess what? You guys get it back anyway on a strip a couple plays later, and then it's a quick pass outside to Tyus Mason. And Tyus had a pretty good day catching the ball.
He did. That one was close there. I thought that one might have been going the other direction.
Yeah, I did too. Malcolm Moore, another good catch. Longest field goal of Bobby Patterson's career, 40 yards. You saw it right there as he puts the Reivers up 16-9. So now you're breathing a little bit easier. At least you're up by a full touchdown.
Yes, but the worst part is when you have two opportunities to get touchdowns and you don't. But like I said, our defense
There's the
is
strip
playing
right
well.
there that I thought we saw earlier. Merrick Jackson pulling it away. So a fumble recovery for Merrick Jackson.
Had a good day. Here's another huge play.
Forces a fumble here, and Dietrich Bing-Dukes was all over it. Touchdown, Dietrich. That's his second. He had a 98-yard return and a fumble recovery in the end zone. So he's had the best of both worlds this season.
I'll tell you what, that's huge. And then they come right back. I mean, I think within 5 possessions or something like that.
Derez Diggs with the interception there. They turned the ball over 4 times in the third quarter, and the Reivers starting to take advantage, although there's a strip away. Heads up by, I believe, Kane Barker, or is that who it is?
Yep,
Kane Barker with the recovery there, and you keep the drive alive. John Nazambo down inside the red zone. You're up 23-9 after that Dietrich Bing-Dukes touchdown. Let's get it inside and punch it in. Why don't we? Nazambo down to the 11. Reivers take a timeout, get a chance to breathe a little bit and talk about the play.
Yeah, a change of quarters here, and now we're heading into the fourth, and we still have to settle for another field goal.
Fourth of the day for Bobby Patterson.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that. You get 4 touchdowns out of that. It's a totally different ball game, but good day for Bobby, though.
Absolutely. This one down the sideline. What a catch and a huge play. Rico Gafford keeps him from scoring. And you think, okay, fourth quarter, we're up a couple scores, and now here we go again. Rico Gafford doesn't get his head around that time. Gary Cross's second touchdown of the day. Nice catch by Gary Cross, and he's one of those receivers that you really have to look out for.
For sure, he's got some ability. This is huge, though. This is probably the turning point. I mean, they score. Everybody's thinking, oh, fourth quarter, here we go again. And then we flip it and get
second time in school history that the Reivers return a PAT for 2. So instead of 26 to 16 at the time, it becomes 28-15. You're still up by 13 points, and I think that really deflated them. Even after the score, they were just thinking, man, oh man. Nice catch across the middle by Daquan Bowman, one of their Texas Tech recruits.
We kind of held him in check. This is probably one of the biggest plays.
Speaking of holding him in check, tried the reverse, and Merrick Jackson was there, trips him up by grabbing his hip, and Merrick just continuing to have a great day. Here's another quarterback sack. Merrick Jackson in on that one. Alton Meeks with the assist.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing well. Defensively, we're getting some pressure. This was probably the biggest thing is after defense plays so well, now you get a big play offensively to score. You might have to score from 40 out because we're struggling in the red zone.
Well, you score from 40 out there. Marshall Clark goes in, just finds that inside route, and it was wide open. Zach had a couple opportunities on the day to hit some guys, just overthrew him, and that one finally he found the strike zone, so to speak.
Well, and I think when you're playing with the wind, and the ones that he missed were with the wind, and sometimes with the wind you just try to put a little touch on it and the wind takes it. Where he made both of those big touchdowns were or big plays were against the wind, and you got to put a little bit more on the ball.
Good days by a couple receivers. Taj Williams obviously sets a couple of records on the day. Well, he set one record on the day, the all-time receptions mark, as he passes current Iowa wide receiver Andrew Stone. That mark had been held since 2012. He is he's behind Matt Waters for third. He's third right now on the all-time yards list. He'll never catch Deion probably. And then you look at the touchdown. He'll never catch touchdowns unless you're just going to toss it to him repeatedly over the next 3 games. But he is at 16 touchdowns, 9 behind Deion Long. So it's good to see Taj kind of climb up the list, past Geronimo Allison on the yardage list. All time. I know you don't care so much about those numbers, but we like those numbers because it gives us something to look at. Zach Martin on the day passes Tay Bender. He is third all time in Reiver passing yards now as he cleared Tay. So a good day overall. Nobody really shone offensively individually. It was a very, very good team effort.
It was, and I think right now our offensive style is a little bit different than we maybe have been in the past, and we got to be a little bit more methodical with what we do, and that's just the way it is. That's what we have depth-wise and how we got to approach it. But they're doing their job, and I think if they do their job, we're going to be okay. And when you're playing as well as we are defensively, you don't have to do anything crazy. We try not to do anything crazy that would put us in jeopardy.
Did you give Bobby Patterson his own seat on the bus on the way home? He had 15 points on the day, 4 field goals
I think
and 3 extra points.
I think he did. I think he had his own seat.
A guy that should have had his own seat, Merrick Jackson. What a day he had. A guy that's been around for several semesters now. This is obviously his redshirt sophomore year. But we talked about ownership before the game and guys buying in, and that's what's happened as this season has gone on. Guys have really owned it. Zach Martin, a redshirt sophomore. Merrick Jackson, one of those guys that has been around. You're like, oh, I really like Merrick. I really like what he's doing, and he's having a heck of a season.
He is, and I think anytime you, like I said, you put in that amount of time, you go through a redshirt year, you play, and you think about it, 11-1 on a redshirt year. 11-1 as a player, you know what I mean? So you understand, playing a national championship game, so you know the expectations and you're vested in the program, and you're a year older than everybody. And I think the 2012 team, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a high number of like 14 or 15 starters on that team, redshirted someplace. You're just going to be more mature and a better football player.
Mature outlook, buying into the team. Reivers win it 35-15. Time for a quick break. When we come back, one heck of a day. We talked about it. A longtime Reiver has his coming out party. We'll talk to him next. This is the Coach Stroh Show on CBTV 17.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
The Coach Stroh Show continues here on CBTV 17. I'm IWTV student Cole McAfee alongside with Reiver defensive tackle Merrick Jackson. Welcome to the show, Merrick. Glad you could join us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Merrick, you play on the defensive line. It's kind of an untold story down there. A lot of action, a lot of grit, a lot of grind. Can you tell me what it is to be like on the defensive line, and what's your main job?
I feel like definitely on both sides of the ball. It's our job to make, as linemen, to make the positions around us look better. Like me, I feel like I'm there to open up opportunities for my linebackers and for them to make plays.
You guys certainly did make plays against Hutchinson. You had a forced fumble. What was going through your mind when you got that forced fumble and one of your teammates came up and scooped it in the end zone?
At first I didn't know it was forced fumble. I think it was a pass play. I came through, got a sack, and as I was taking them down, the ball kind of just popped out, and I looked up and I seen it rolling towards the end zone, and I seen it was one of their players, I think an offensive lineman, and then my linebacker Dukes, and he got there first and got the touchdown for us.
So do you feel that touchdown was rightfully yours, or was it Duke's touchdown?
Definitely Duke's touchdown. He had to hustle a long way to go get that fumble recovery. So praise him.
You had 2 sacks in Saturday's matchup 2 against Hutchinson. Do you really pay attention to your stats as a whole? You were also player of the game that day too. Do you pay attention as your stats, or do you just do what you do and work hard every day?
Honestly, I really don't pay attention to like stats. I kind of just go out there and play my game, and hopefully it's what is needed to be done for us to get the win.
And defense did a really good job in the third quarter. Came up. You guys had the momentum defensively. What did you think about the defense doing good, so good, clicking every play they came out?
At that point in the game, we were really high, and the momentum was definitely on us, and felt like everything we did was just the right thing.
And you guys just beat Hutchinson. They were 4-4 when you guys versed them, but some say they were hardest opponent of the season. What do you guys say about that?
Hutch is definitely the best 4-4 team in the country, or was the best 4-4 team in the country. They were talent-wise, they were definitely up there with Butler and Coffeyville, but they just couldn't get it together as a team.
Do you guys knew that coming into the game? Were you surprised at all? But did you guys kind of know what you were going into?
We kind of knew that if we got the momentum, if we went up on them, that they would fold, and then that's what happened.
Well, thanks again for joining us, Merrick. We're looking forward to seeing you and what you do in Fort Scott's backfield this Saturday. Good luck against the Greyhounds this Saturday, man.
Thank you.
Coming up after the break, Jake Ryan and the coach are back to talk about the Reivers on First Responders Days coming up on Saturday. We'll be right back.
Your future is here at CBTV. You're in the game. You take the shots. It's your story. The Media Studies program at Iowa Western. Real reality TV starring you. For more information, go to iwcc.edu.
Well, we're ticking down to the end of another edition of the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show and the end of another football season. 9 games down, only 3 to go. It is the Fort Scott Greyhounds. Last year, you take out Hutch at home, big top 10 win. You slide into the polls at number 1 and then go down to Fort Scott. And it wasn't necessarily a scary game, but it certainly wasn't the barn burner that you needed. You needed to put some points on the board to secure that number 1 ranking at the time. And by the time it was all said and done, East Mississippi sneaks back in. You head down to Mississippi by the time it's all said and done. But here you are. You get to host Fort Scott. And the Greyhounds, well, they put up some numbers on the season. Last week, a 49-42 loss, and I'm sure that they've got Iowa Western circled on their calendar just about how everybody else does on the season. So what do you see out of the Greyhounds this year?
Well, one, they're better. They're better than they were last year.
Isn't that a trend that's going throughout the Jayhawk
Yes,
Conference?
it is. I'll tell you what, the league is good. They have a defensive lineman who's committed to Florida State, another one who's committed to Tennessee, and another one who has BCS Power 5 offers.
Wow.
So 3 D linemen, a linebacker's got Division I offers, a tailback who was the leader, one of the leaders in NJCA rushing last year, and so they got some. There's definitely some players, and they're better than they were last year, when we went there. But it's good to have them at home, and like I told the team on Sunday, we don't want to have a let up like maybe Butler had a let up.
Sure.
I don't want the talk of NJCAA is someone comes into our place and beats us, this week. So it's more of a focus in this. We're in no position. It's not like we're blowing people out anyways.
Yeah.
We're not in any position to overlook anybody, and they're all going to be tough. And hopefully the guys see with a lot of things that happen week in and week out this year in NJCAA that you never know.
Well, you look at last week, Kilgore beats Tyler. Butler, number 1 in the country. They get upset at home by Garden City, a 1-7 Garden City team. Nobody saw that coming. And then Coffeyville gets upended. East Mississippi's done for the year. A lot could happen between now and the bowl game season. And the Reivers back into the rankings this week at number 10. I know you can't get caught up in it, because you start getting caught up in what could happen down the road, then you lose sight of what's happening this week. But I mean, what's the talk around the coach's office right now? You've got to be feeling good about where you're at this point in the season, especially after the way things started.
Well, exactly. You know, I mean, when we were down, we were out of the polls for a few weeks, and you know, now to work your way back into it, I think is into that top 10. You know, I guess it's a credit to the kids, and all we got to do is continue. Do we agree with where they're at now? It don't really matter. We've got 2 weeks to go. A lot of things can happen. As long as we keep taking care of business, you know, see where it happens. You know, we didn't take care of business in week 1 and week 2, and that's, you know, that's on us. So now it's out of our hands and it's in someone else's hands. And you know, if we win those 2, it's, you know, we know where we're sitting. At least one of them, we probably know where we're sitting. And but that's the way it works. And now you got to let the polls fall where they may.
Be nice if there was a Final Four in NJCAA football, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Move your way into that, you'd be okay. But a couple playoff games, man, that would really add to your semester, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be tough.
All right, Fort Scott this week. You talked about the defensive line. I just want to go back real quick. Not much of a rushing attack to start with this season. I know you guys always want to get the run going. So do we maybe have a record coming from Zach Martin this week?
Very easily could within the next couple weeks.
All right, we'll be ready to keep an eye on all those wide receivers, that's for sure. Another show in the books, only a couple left this season. Saturday, well, the Reivers are back at home. It's First Responders Day. As a thank you to all the first responders, police officers, firefighters, and EMTs, there will be 2 free tickets waiting for all of those with their credentials. The free tailgate put on by 2015 outstanding alum and owner of Barley's, Matt Johnson, is open to everybody. If you want to park in the lot, it's $5. You can park for free outside of that. But other than that, it is free to come enjoy the pregame festivities, including live music from local band Pelican Rodeo. You remember Kyle that used to be with us on the road trips? He is in Pelican Rodeo as the lead singer. So, Coach, if you get a chance in the pregame, pop out and see Pelican Rodeo. They'll be performing about 11:30. Pregame on the radio starts at 12 noon with Jared Ingram and Russ Nelson setting things up. And then I will come in and talk to you for all of the action beginning at 1 o'clock as the Reivers face the Greyhounds of Fort Scott. Kickoff from Titan Stadium is 1 o'clock. So be there on time to cheer on the Reivers. Only a couple of home games remain. We will do chili cook-off and sophomore day coming up next Saturday, November the 7th against Iowa Central. But until then, make sure you come out and enjoy Halloween. Are you wearing a costume on the sideline this week?
I don't think so.
Okay, no costume.
No.
Probably just a pair of khakis, a pullover, and a visor, right?
Yep.
All right.
I'm guessing.
That's the Coach Strohmeier costume if you're looking to go as Coach Stroh for Halloween.
Actually, I think my daughter is.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Be interesting.
I can't wait to see that. That'll be a lot of fun. Battle for the Kenny Cup next week, Halloween this week. Make sure you log on to GoReivers.com to keep up with all of the events that we have got planned for Reiver Athletics. Thanks again to head coach Scott Strohmeier and defensive tackle Merrick Jackson for taking the time to be on the show today, and for our IWTV student crew for putting it all together. Watch highlights from the Reivers and your favorite Southwest Iowa teams every week on the Bluff Sports Zone with JJ Davis. This has been the Coach Stroh Show on CBTV 17. We will see you next week, and we'll talk with you on game day. Until then, wear your blue, be loud, and go Reivers.